Hey everybody, Cinergy here. So what we're going to do today or tonight is basically going to go through my video capture rig for the PS3, explain all the different parts and how it works, and do a little demonstration. And then hopefully we're going to put together a manifest of things that you would need to get in order to set this setup on your own as well. So let's get started. Okay, so basically here's a high-level view of everything. Of course, the PS3 is back here and behind. Okay, so the basic components for my setup are the recorder itself is the Hoppage HD PVR. And basically this device allows you to have component video in, and then pass through component video out, as well as audio and digital optical out with USB to your computer. Okay, so there's two ways you can get that from the PS3. You can either go directly component leads out of the PS3 with component video, which isn't as quite high quality as HDMI, but still looks pretty good if you're not too fickle. Or you can do what I did, which is take the HDMI out of the PS3 and take it over here to a HDMI splitter, and then that HDMI splitter has a lead that goes out to my monitor right here, and then another lead that goes to this little device here called an HD Fury 2. And what this is it's a HCDP decryptor. So basically the signal that comes out of the PS3 is encrypted for copy protection, and that little device basically decrypts it and then converts it into component video. And interestingly enough, the component video that I get out of the HD Fury is even higher quality than the one I would get out of the PS3. So it's pretty high quality. As far as like seeing the gamer tags and stuff is a little bit easier. Okay, so that pretty much covers how I get the video, right? So what I do is, of course, the Hoppage HD PVR plugs in through USB to my computer here, which in my case is a MacBook Pro, and you can see right here is the screen showing me what's going on there. So I use iTV, which is a software for Mac that works with the HD PVR. You can also use the software for Windows, which I think is like Total Capture or something. Anyhow, I like Mac for video editing, so I use Mac. So yeah, you can see here as I make any changes to the controller here for the PS3, that those changes are reflected on my screen. Okay. Alright, so now let's talk about audio, the fun part. So ideally, what we'd like to get here is we'd like to get audio that is the game audio as well as the voice chat, because when you capture a game, especially if it's a competitive match, you really want to get the voice chat because it gives you a different dimension as to the interaction between the players, and also gives you a feel for how much pressure they were under and if they were working well together. And oftentimes without the voice chat, it's difficult to see or know exactly where the breakdown started to happen. So for my audio, what I use for my just my gaming audio period is I use a Astro A40 audio system, which is made by Astro Gaming, and comprised of these headphones and this box here, which is called the mix amp. So the mix amp actually takes its audio from digital optical cable that comes out of the back of the PS3. You can see that back there. Then it takes the voice USB, which comes out of the front of the PS3, And then it has some jacks on it, so it allows you to basically mix the volume of the game audio and the master volume, and then also mix the game audio and the voice audio, which is really handy because I tend to ride with mine both around like that, both around 1:30, 2 o'clock. The other thing that the mix amp does is it uses a technology called Dolby Headphone that simulates 5.1 Dolby digital surround sound with the two 40mm drivers that are built into this headphone set. And it has a nice little integrated microphone and a quick disconnect. Okay, so this box here has some jacks on it. One is for the headset itself, right? And another one is for the controller in the case of using an Xbox controller. That's where you plug it in. And then on the back, there is let me just disconnect this stuff so you can see. On the back here, we have the USB, right, which is up here, which we are using for the voice. We have the digital optical, which is right here, which we are using for the game audio. Then we have these RCA jacks, which we're not using because we're taking our audio from the PS3 over digital optical. And then there's this auxiliary in here for an MP3 player or some kind of audio source if you wanted to mix it in there and hear it in your headset. And then there is this PC mic jack right here, which is basically a pass-through of the microphone that's going out. It's basically anything that you're saying is basically being put through this jack, so that if you were playing on a PC, you could actually plug this jack into the PC's sound card and actually have that microphone audio go straight to there. So, okay, so now I'm gonna plug this stuff back in. Okay, so you'll see here that we have a 3.5mm stereo jack, and what we've done with that is we've actually plugged it into that bear with, into that PC mic jack. And so this is going to basically be a lead that gives us the audio, that the things that I'm saying into the microphone. Okay, so now the Astro, it comes with two little leads for quick disconnect. One has got this multi-4 connector thing on it, which is really handy and convenient because it combines both the headset and the microphone. Usually it plugs in here, and then the quick disconnect side of it right here just goes straight into the headphone. Okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that and put that aside because we don't need that right now. What we need is this other connector that comes with the mix amp. And this connector basically takes that 4-prong connector and breaks it out into pink and green connectors like you'd use for a regular PC microphone. And then, in addition to that, there's another quick disconnect cable that comes with the headphones. And this quick disconnect cable has, guess what, green and pink on it, so in case you were using it with a PC. And then of course on the other side of that is the quick disconnect itself. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to plug our cable in here so that we actually have our audio coming out. And then we get one of these fancy little cables here that we got at Radio Shack. It's basically a 3.5mm Y adapter stereo. What it does is it allows you to plug in 3.5mm jack here and then get two 3.5mm jacks out. So what I actually do with this here is I plug it into the green side of the output from the mix amp, and then I take one of the green leads that's going to the headset and I plug it into the bottom here. Oh, you can hear it coming through my laptop already. Okay, now the other thing I do is I take the pink one that's coming from the headset and I just plug it in directly into the pink one from the mix amp. And the reason I do that is because I'm scraping my voice audio out through that PC mic jack in the back, so we don't need that. And then this lonely lead that's left on the 3.5mm plugs into this cable right here, which is a 3.5mm stereo to RCA cable. So we plug this into here. Okay, here we go. And now this 3.5mm stereo to RCA cable runs to this little jobbery Radio Shack 4-channel stereo sound mixer that costs all of like $12 or $20 or something like that at Radio Shack. So the basic features of this are, of course, I got the extra little power adapter, so I never had to buy batteries for it, which costs like maybe another $9. The basic features of this thing are, though, is 4 channels. It's got 4 channels in, and you can use microphones in on those channels as well. And then on the back, of course, it's got auxiliary 1 and 2 inputs, an RCA, and then a RCA output. Okay. Now the reason that we have this is because we want to mix the pre-mixed audio that's coming out of the mix amp, which includes both the game audio and the voice audio from the other players. And we're going to take that out through the headset jack, everything like this, and we're going to auxiliary in through aux1 into the back of this mixing board. And because it's right and left stereo, it takes up channels 1 and 2. Okay. Then we're taking the PC mic jack out of the back of the mix amp, which is going to be just my voice. And we're going to take that, and it comes into channel 3 on the mixing board. Now, in order for that 3.5mm to actually plug into the mixing board, I have to get a 3.5mm to 1/4 inch phono adapter, basically. The one that I got here is like it's just mono, which is fine, and that's useful because really only need mono for audio, for voice. Okay. Now I set this to stereo mode, and basically this is my levels for the voice coming from the game with the other players, and this is the levels for my voice. And the reason that they show the way they are is because my voice is a lot stronger, I guess, when it comes out of the mix amp directly than the other audio. And so the reason why we have this mixing board is to be able to balance those two and mix them together so that it sounds like I'm in the game rather than sitting here on a separate channel with a separate microphone. Now, why do we go through all this, right? Well, because if we just went through the mix amp, if we just went through and said, okay, we're going to say system audio output for the PlayStation for my voice audio, and I'm just going to collect that, right? Then basically I still have no audio of me, right? There's still no audio of me. But in addition to that, by running the voice chat through the mix amp, I get the additional luxury and convenience of being able to mix the voice audio with the game audio so that it's balanced appropriately. In my case, I tend to like the game audio to be a little bit more in the background for recording. And then I get to remix my voice into this through the mixing board. This is really what the point of this whole thing is. Then the output of this mixing board comes through RCA jacks, and it just comes on out here and wraps along to the back of the HD PVR and plugs on in there on the inputs for left and right. And voila, we get audio. We get audio directly to the computer. Just comes right on in. So when that little blue light there shows that it's actually on and recording. So now, if I turn my mix amp on, you all of a sudden hear my audio coming from my computer. Bear with for a moment here. Okay, now we're plugged in. And I can see here the microphone if I pick it up and I say something into the microphone. You can kind of hear a little bit of a delay. You hear that little bit of delay there? So that delay is actually it's actually the time that it takes to process my voice and to capture it with the capture device and then feed it back into the computer. So everything that you're hearing me say is delayed. Is actually the game audio is delayed as well. Everything's delayed by just a few seconds, or a second and a bit. And that's expected, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, fair enough. So now let's get into a game here. Join on Magnum. If you hear a little bit of skipping like that every so often, don't worry. It's just that the capture is just catching up with the outputs from the Sony. It's not gonna skip like that when it's actually playing back. It's just the way that the recorder picks it up. Okay, so I got my headset on. Everything looks all good over here. So you got a nice 007 crew here. Invite Magnum over here so we can actually get somebody to test with. Hey, Magnum.
Hey, what's up,
Hey, son.
Yeah, I'm like halfway through.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm actually taping right now. I'm taping my my video capture setup. So this is a little bit of a demonstration to show everybody how my voice mixes with yours.
Oh, cool, man.
You're looking pretty fancy there with all that get up on.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, hold on a second. Let me just turn this off then. And that's how it works, guys. Hope it was helpful and useful. Hope that you get something out of it. And if you have any questions, let me know. Peace.